Imagine being executed not in seconds, not even in minutes, but slowly, while thousands of people watch. In 1757, in the center of Paris, a man was about to experience one of the most brutal executions in European history. His name was Robert-François Damiens. His crime? He tried to kill the king, or at least, he tried to stab him. The target was Louis XV. The blade barely pierced the king's coat. The wound was small. The king survived. But in absolute monarchies, the size of the wound did not matter. The act itself was unforgivable, because attacking the king was not just violence, it was attacking the body of the state. And the punishment needed to prove something. It needed to prove that the king's power was greater than any man's body. So the authorities prepared a spectacle, a public execution. But not a simple one. Damiens would be torn apart. On a cold morning, crowds filled the square. Thousands came, some out of curiosity, some out of fear, some simply because public executions were the closest thing to entertainment. Damiens was brought out in chains, his body already weakened from torture. But the execution had only just begun. First, his flesh was burned. Hot metal and flame were pressed against his skin. Then molten lead and boiling oil were poured into the wounds. The crowd watched. Some prayed, some screamed. Some could not look away. But the worst part was still coming. 4 horses were brought forward. Each horse was tied to one of Damiens' limbs. Arms, legs, 4 directions. The signal was given. The horses pulled. But the human body is stronger than people expect. His limbs did not tear off. The executioners tried again. The horses strained. Still nothing. So the executioners took knives. They cut the tendons. They weakened the joints. And the horses were ordered to pull again. This time, the body began to come apart. It took hours, not seconds. Hours. Eventually, the limbs separated. One by one, the crowd slowly dispersed. The message had been delivered. The king's authority had been restored. Or at least, that was the intention. But something strange happened afterward. Witnesses wrote about the horror. Philosophers questioned the spectacle. And decades later, people would begin asking a different question. Not about the crime, but about the punishment. Because the execution of Damiens would become one of the last great spectacles of medieval-style justice in France. A reminder of a time when power was demonstrated not through laws, but through pain. And only a few decades later, France would execute a king of its own, not with horses, but with a machine, the guillotine.